Chapter 91. The truth is often cruel, but often expected. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When the people from Hualing College arrived at the school gate, the battle was already over. Jiang Tianxua was beaten to death, his iron skin and bones became scrap copper and rotten iron, and he didn't know how many bones were broken. His internal organs were seriously displaced, and he looked very scary. In fact, his injuries were not as serious as Cui Xingshi, who had been sent away before. As long as he was treated in time, he could be completely cured. Zhong Yuan removed the effect of the condensed ice and dragged Jiang Tianxua up from the ground. What a highly regarded defensive system capable person, now completely lost his resistance and became a fish to be slaughtered. He is not weak in ability, but he is a scumbag. What a pity, the simulated skin gloves had long been broken into pieces, and the cold hands were exposed, strangling Jiang Tianxua's neck. Jiang Tianxua's limbs drooped weakly, and he opened his swollen eyelids with difficulty. There was a hideous and narrow gap at the corner of his eye, extending all the way to his temple, and it was bleeding non-stop. Looking at Zhong Yuan, who was still angry, he said foolishly, I really like your sister. He still doesn't repent after being beaten like this. This scum is to the bone, and he can be regarded as the king of scum. Zhong Yuan was not moved by the other party's infatuation at all, and his heart was as hard as iron. In this case, you go to hell. Jiang Tianxua's face was ashen, the cold murderous aura rushed towards him, piercing his heart. His consciousness was about to blur, he could only vaguely see the boy's cold posture and cruel words, as if taking someone's life was not a big deal in his eyes. This is not the first time he has done this. He has killed people before. Jiang Tianxua's heart trembled, and he murmured, killing me will get you into trouble. You also seriously injured Cui Xingshi. Well, none of this matters to you. At such a young age, as long as he later said that he missed during the sparring, he would not be sentenced. Even if this reason is not sufficient, the military district will find ways to keep him and will not pursue him too much with such strong combat effectiveness. Death is in vain, but at least, let me know why I must die. Jiang Tianxua's eyes were red with anger, and finally it was the moment of last light, and the last strength of his body surged out. He widened his eyes and shouted, Why? Tell me. Why don't you let me be with her? What's there to be angry with a scum who refuses to repent? Zhong Yuan could no longer feel angry, and said calmly, My sister is only 12 years old this year, and you dare to have ideas about her. Keeping you in the world will only harm more underage girls. Killing you is to eliminate harm for the people. What? Only 12 years old? Is there something wrong? The mysterious little beauty I met in the corridor looked like 16 or 17 years old. Jiang Tianxua's whole heart was trembling, and his thoughts were in a fog and a mess. Before he died, he was extremely eager to grasp the truth with his own hands, and finally asked the most critical question. Have we met somewhere before? Zhong Yuan said calmly, I just bumped into you in the corridor. Do you think I can let you go for this? Don't dream, that the truth is often cruel, but often expected. Jiang Tianxua could no longer stop the infinite sadness in his heart, tears rolled down his cheeks, and he was choked up and speechless. It's really you. I'd rather die. Zhong Yuan ignored the tears that he never shed easily, and said coldly, nothing to say. Then, just as he was about to kill, he suddenly heard an urgent shout from a distance. Show mercy. The guards arrived. Before he ran to Zhong Yuan, Chen Jun had already used life-sharing on Jiang Tianxua. The ultimate life-saving method was used, and he couldn't die even if he wanted to. The vitality that had been at the bottom was instantly pulled back by half. At the same time, the two guards released their abilities on Zhong Yuan. Mental cage. Swamp. One is the ability to make people lose their fighting consciousness, and the other is the ability to control the field over a wide area, turning the ground into a swamp. However, the swamp has a fatal flaw. It is very slow to activate. Even at the Qin level, it takes at least 3 seconds to complete the state transformation of the ground. Interestingly, if the swamp is retracted, the ground will return to its original state, and people trapped in it will be stuck in the concrete. The 3-second activation speed is easy for Suning to evade, and no one will stand there stupidly and do nothing, unless an ambush is set in advance. Therefore, the swamp is usually used in conjunction with a mental ability. the two guards have been partners for many years. First use the mental cage to make the target lose the will to fight, and then control the swamp. When the person is trapped, remove the swamp, and the person is trapped in the concrete and cannot move, and is detained. Finally, use the swamp again to drag the person out. Perfect plan. Unfortunately, they met Zhong Yuan. Under the blessing of fearlessness, the mental cage does not work. The ground beneath his feet suddenly became soft. Zhong Yuan was quick to sense that something was wrong and immediately dodged and retreated. At the same time, he threw Jiang Tianxua hard, and he immediately crashed into the ground. The cement floor within a square meter had turned into a brown muddy swamp. Jiang Tianxua fell into it and was soon swallowed up half of his body. The guard who used this ability was horrified and yelled at his partner, "Old Seven, your mental cage." Old Seven looked solemn. "I used it a long time ago, but it was obvious that it didn't work. That kid has the ability to resist the mental cage." This time, not only did he not trap the murderer, but he also trapped Jiang Tianxua. He didn't know anything, his head was sinking in the mud, he couldn't breathe, and he died after a while. Moreover, the ability cannot be simply stopped, otherwise it will get stuck in the cement floor and cannot be pulled out. The two guards' faces turned dark, and they rushed to Jiang Tianxua, trying to drag him out of the swamp. Unexpectedly, the surrounding temperature dropped sharply without warning. Ningbing. Zhong Yuan stepped back more than 10 meters and found that the range of the change on the ground was limited. It seemed to be only 2 or 3 meters. He took advantage of the guards to rescue the scum and boldly returned to the battle circle, calmly displaying his abilities. "Thank you to the person who used quagmire, you must be the best assister of the year. Once soil with such a high water content freezes, it will turn into extremely hard frozen soil. If you're stuck inside, you're dead." At this moment, the two guards were shocked. No. Got hit. They didn't sink deeply, but their bodies were frozen and they temporarily lost their mobility. Jiang Tianxua was in a bad situation, with only half of his calf still exposed. Once it continues to freeze, it will be a disaster. Not far away, Chen Jun felt his life force draining faster and couldn't help shouting, "Hurry up and save people." There are 3 guards left, among them the bearded man is the captain. He also tried to save the situation and shouted at Zhong Yuan, "Remove your freezing ability immediately. Otherwise, don't blame us for being rude." The little guy looked young and was wearing the uniform of Chengying Academy. In line with the purpose of staying on the line, the guard captain first shouted to persuade him to surrender. However, what answered him was an extremely fast-flying knife. Chapter 92. That direction is not the dormitory, it is the confinement room. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lao Hu felt a chill in his waist, and it took a few seconds before he felt severe pain. The moment the blade tore through the flesh, "I didn't even feel it." If you are killed by this kind of knife, you will not even feel pain before death. A century-old brand cannot make this kind of knife. Only the Suning Supervisory Bureau, which has mastered the most advanced forging technology, can achieve such a high level. And the Supervision and Construction Bureau only supplies weapons for the team of ruiners. Lao Hu was shocked. In just one encounter, 2 guards were trapped and 1 was seriously injured. Could it be that they were facing members of the top Shueshi team? That's true, and it makes sense. However, I have never heard of any team that recently accepted a talented team member. The pain in his waist was unbearable, and Lao Hu eagerly wanted Chen Jun to help him treat it. Looking back, the unlucky baby looked as if he had lost half of his life. It's over. Chen Jun was dragged down by Jiang Tianxua and could not take action. 4 people in his team were wiped out. Lao Hu. What should I do? Team leader. That the other 2 were extremely nervous and did not dare to act rashly. They saw 6 more throwing knives in the young man's hand. The target was not Lao Hu, but the 2 colleagues who were frozen. The distance is less than 5 meters, and it's an instant kill if you take action. Zhong Yuan said calmly, "Wait a minute, it will be over soon." Taking hostages is a bit insidious, but in order to avoid unnecessary fighting, this is the only way to do it. After saying that, he added another layer of ice and continued to freeze Jiang Tianxua and the 2 guards. Lao Hu endured the pain and shouted, "Why do you have such deep hatred that you have to do this?" Zhong Yuan answered the question inappropriately, "I don't want to kill innocent people indiscriminately." You guys, don't move. It doesn't make sense to him at all. It's too late to call for help now. Jiang Tianxua will definitely die. Lao Hu made a painful decision and ordered, Chen Jun. Disconnect the connection of life sharing. Don't make unnecessary sacrifices. Chen Jun gasped and said, I can still hold on. Maybe the masters from the academy will be here soon. His vitality was strong, and the life sharing was activated in an intact state. He felt that he could support it a little longer, and he was unwilling to give up no matter what. In fact, if it weren't for Chen Jun's continuous efforts, Jiang Tianxua would have died. Lao Hu said anxiously, it's too late, you will die if you continue. You still have a bright future. Don't forget, I said, I will help you find out about the Nighthawk team. Chen Jun laughed self-deprecatingly, if I couldn't save even one student, why would I join the Nighthawk team? Zhong Yuan listened to their conversation. It was nothing at first, but suddenly, a strong sense of familiarity swept through his heart. He suddenly looked at the medical expert who was using life sharing. Although it was only a quick glance at that time, Zhong Yuan had already recognized Chen Jun. This man is a member of the Nighthawk team. He and Zhong Lan fight side by side against the giant Black Claw. Until the moment Zhong Lan died in battle, he did not leave the battlefield. I remembered, it's you. Zhong Yuan's eyes were full of melancholy. At this time, Chen Jun was wearing the guard uniform of Hualing College. He had not yet joined the Nighthawk team and had not yet met Zhong Lan. As a member of the medical department, he did not give up saving Jiang Tianxua's life even though he knew there was nothing he could do. No wonder Zhong Lan trusts him and is willing to entrust his back. Moreover, it is conceivable that Zhong Lan must have received a lot of care from Chen Jun when he joined the Nighthawk team. This man cannot die. His life is much more important than Jiang Tianxua. Seeing that they were both killed, Zhong Yuan had no choice but to put away the throwing knife. Finally, he took a deep look at Chen Jun and turned around to leave. As soon as the people left, the frozen soil turned back into a swamp state. The two guards finally thawed out. Regardless of the frostbite on their bodies, they hurriedly pulled Jiang Tianxua outside. He has completely turned into a clay figure. His nose, ears, and mouth were all covered in mud, and he looked miserable. He didn't have the demeanor of a young master of the generation. A guard slapped Jiang Tianxua hard on the back. He then spat out a large puddle of mud in pain and regained the ability to breathe on his own. The guard was trembling and shouted excitedly, he's still alive. Xiao Chen. Give him treatment quickly. Chen Jun was also excited and immediately rushed to Jiang Tianxua to treat his injuries. However, Lao Hu and the other two guards still did not dare to act rashly. They watched Zhong Yuan leave, their hearts hanging in their throats, fearing that this little evil star would come back to kill him. Fortunately, the person walked away without even looking back. Lao Hu was wondering, why did he suddenly retreat? Before leaving, he seemed to have glanced at Chen Jun. Until Zhong Yuan could no longer be seen, a guard asked in a low voice, Lao Hu, do you want to chase him? This kid is extremely dangerous and needs to be caught. Lao Hu's expression changed, and he felt the pain gradually becoming unbearable where he was hit by the flying knife. He couldn't help but said angrily, I'm chasing him, can you beat him? Can't beat. That's all right. We are just a group of 007 workers. We work at different positions. We will make a report tomorrow and let the college take care of it. Hey, Xiao Chen. Give me some treatment too. My old waist was stabbed. The Hualing College guard gave up the pursuit. Silent streets. The streetlight hit Zhong Yuan, dragging a long black shadow. On the other side of the lamppost, a man wearing sunglasses walked out. It was Feng Qing, who had been waiting for a long time. He didn't retreat very far, paying attention to the battle at the school gate, and didn't show up until it was over. If someone catches Zhong Yuan, he will immediately reveal his identity and take the person away. Fortunately, the guards at Hualing College are all weak and don't dare to take action, which saves trouble. You gave up in the end. Why? I thought he was dead. Feng Qing walked to Zhong Yuan and walked side by side with him. Zhong Yuan looked dazed and whispered, I met an acquaintance who once took care of Lan Lan. He insisted on stopping me, so let's forget it for today. That person is from the medical department. Feng Qing immediately guessed Chen Jun's ability. After all, only life sharing can stop Zhong Yuan from killing people. Zhong Yuan hummed in a depressed tone and suddenly discovered a problem. What is this place? There is not a single car in the middle of nowhere, turn on the phone, no internet. Zhong Yuan said in confusion, how do we go back? Are we going to fly again? That the flight was gone at 11 o'clock. I'm a human being too, and I need to sleep. Someone pointed to a shared bicycle parked on the roadside and said tentatively, I'm not heavy. Zhong Yuan, how could it be possible to go back by bicycle after traveling more than 30 kilometers? In the end, Feng Qing had no choice but to take out his satellite phone and hail an express train to pick him up. The driver is a woman, very beautiful, with big waves and flaming red lips. It's a pity that she didn't chat and was silent all the way. She didn't even play music in the car. Speeding like lightning, we drove to the northwest wall of Chengying College. After putting down the two hitchhikers, the female driver stepped on the accelerator and left quickly. The wall is 5 meters high, and a hole was broken in the protective fence on top. Feng Qing said, climb over the wall and get in. It was too late, and we would be in trouble if we were hit by a patrol while walking through the main entrance. He took a few steps back, started running quickly, and climbed vertically up the wall. When you reach the top, grab the railing with one hand, pass through the hole, and finally jump down. It's even easier for Zhong Yuan to climb over the wall, and he doesn't even need to run, pushing his feet on the ground. He jumped to the gap in the guardrail of the wall like a black cat climbing up a wall, then, jump to the ground, turn around and walk away. Feng Qing hurriedly caught up and said strangely, where are you going? That direction is not a dormitory, it's a solitary room. Chapter 93, An Experiment Failed. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhong Yuan continued to walk towards the confinement room. After a big battle, he finally felt tired after using so many abilities. Now he instinctively wanted to go back to the safe little dark room and rest on the warm little bed. Feng Qing didn't know what he was thinking, and said anxiously, why are you going to the confinement room? When you commit a crime, you must insist that you are not wrong. Zhong Yuan said speechlessly, I just want to go there to sleep. Feng Qing said in surprise, isn't the luxurious big bedroom I decorated for you good? Do you have to go to that simple little dark room? If you dislike the lack of toilet, call someone to install a toilet for you tomorrow, just to pretend. Zhong Yuan insisted, it's not a question of whether it's good or not. I think the confinement room is very special. Feng Qing was completely speechless and asked, what's special about it? Zhong Yuan thought about it and said, maybe it's quiet, especially quiet. I want to sleep there again. Wouldn't it be just as quiet if you drew the curtains in the dormitory? Feng Qing wanted to save the situation, and tried to say, why don't you go check on your sister first, and tell her that you helped her get revenge? No. It's late. Zhong Yuan said lightly, besides, she won't want to see me now. Maybe she won't go to the cafeteria with me for breakfast tomorrow. Why? Feng Qing was puzzled. No reason. Zhong Yuan was too lazy to explain too much. When Zhong Lan was in kindergarten, because her head was too big, she ranked last in the forward roll competition. In the end, she secretly ran into the toilet and cried, and refused to go home with him. She cares about winning or losing, especially after losing. She doesn't want to see anyone, and it will take at least a few days to recover. While talking, we arrived at the confinement room. The door was closed, and we had to ask the guards for the key to enter. Zhong Yuan made up a lame excuse and lied that something was left inside. As a result, the guard was very considerate and told him the key and passcode. The funniest thing is that because almost no one goes to the confinement room, the password has not been changed for a long time, and it has always been open the door, sesame, sesame. Just like that, he successfully entered the confinement room. Someone was still unwilling to leave. Zhong Yuan raised his eyebrows. What are you doing here? Feng Qing was extremely worried. I'm afraid you will fall asleep again and can't be woken up. You don't know that Director Gu worked hard to wake you up, and even used the photos at the bottom of the box. The killer is certainly useful, but it will definitely be useless if it is used too many times. Zhong Yuan fell into deep thought, and after a few seconds, he said, I really didn't hear him calling me. And the super perception was ineffective at that time. Feng Qing was right. Before falling asleep, you must make sure you can wake up on time. if you sleep for more than 2 days like before, thinking it's 5 minutes, it will be troublesome. Zhong Yuan thought for a moment and said, I'll take a nap first. See if you can wake me up. Okay. Then, Zhong Yuan turned off the lights and lay on the small bed. Just like last time, he immersed his will in the peaceful darkness, he fell asleep in seconds, and there was no possibility of insomnia. In the darkness, Feng Qing's pair of purple eyes were particularly eye-catching, shining slightly, flashing a seductive light. He brewed his emotions for a while, leaned close to Zhong Yuan's ear, and said seriously, Yuan, your sister was beaten by people from Hualing College. Zhong Yuan. No reaction, never wake up. The killer trick really failed. This is because Zhong Yuan subconsciously knew that the matter had been resolved and Zhong Lan was not in danger, so he fell asleep peacefully. Feng Qing's face turned black. In the next 10 minutes, he made up more than a dozen lies about Zhong Lan being in danger, but none of them worked. How could this happen? Zhong Yuan couldn't be fooled. He still had judgment when he fell asleep, so, what is the reason for sleeping in the confinement room? Is it related to the shortening of his weakness time? I am an outlier, and you are also an outlier. You are the only one of my kind I have met. Don't worry, I will definitely help you. Feng Qing murmured, and decided to risk his life to sacrifice himself. He took a deep breath and said to Zhong Yuan. Your sister is going to elope with me. Zhong Yuan. Nothing happened. Although Zhong Yuan protects his sister, he is not so stupid as to be deceived by bizarre lies. Feng Qing's eyelids twitched wildly, and suddenly understood Director Gu's mood at that time. It's terrible. Doing an experiment, the result is a car accident. Now, even he can't wake up Zhong Yuan. At 12 o'clock in the middle of the night, a special patient was transferred to the Blue Brain Cross Hospital, 16 years old, male, Simi nationality. His symptoms, rolling his eyes, convulsions all over the body, foaming at the mouth. The emergency doctor judged the situation to be urgent and wanted to help him check. But the patient actually brought 2 doctors with him and refused the hospital's treatment. All they needed was a well-equipped, quiet intensive care ward. If it were a public hospital, such people would be immediately dissuaded. However, Blue Brain Cross Hospital is the leading private hospital in Upper East City and has always been famous for its good service. Unless there are special circumstances, patients are generally not turned away. Cui Xingshi was quickly sent to the luxurious intensive care ward on the top floor of the inpatient department. There are only 4 such wards on the entire floor, which greatly protects the privacy of patients. Not long after, a graceful woman took the elevator and went directly to the ward. As soon as she entered the door, she immediately took off her sunglasses and mask, revealing her beautiful face. She is Cui Xingshi's biological mother Lu Yulian, a female star who was once popular in China. Although she is over 40, the years have not left too many traces on her face. She is still as young and beautiful as a young girl in her 20s, with a charming figure and full of mature charm. The characteristics of 2 different age stages are concentrated in one person, making Lu Yulian more attractive to the opposite sex. When the 2 medical experts from Simi country saw her, they flashed a look of surprise in their eyes at the same time. Lu Yulian has long been accustomed to being stared at by such voracious eyes, but now, she has no time to be complacent. Her son was beaten seriously at school and was admitted to the hospital for emergency treatment. As soon as she received the call, her old lover didn't care about it, and rushed over anxiously and asked, "How is Master Sheng?" "He is okay, right?" But when she walked to the bedside, her son rolled his eyes, as if he was having epilepsy, shaking constantly. How could he look okay? Lu Yulian panicked and screamed, "Why don't you 2 treat him?" That he has been treated for a long time, but it can't be cured. A Su Ning from the Simi nation explained in panic, "Madam, we have tried our best and used all the means we can." Lu Yulian's almond eyes widened, pointing at her precious son and said, "Why is it still like this after the treatment?" In her mind, as long as the medical department takes action, any injury will be healed. Another person defended his incompetence. Master Sheng is likely to have been attacked by a Su Ning. It should be a mental attack. We can't remove it. Chapter 94 Zhong Yuan, Highest Confidentiality Level. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The 2 medical departments of Simi country have the ability to remove mental control. Cui Xingshi used it before, but it was useless. This must not be caused by mental attack. Moreover, after entering the hospital, the strongest tranquilizer did not work, and he could only leave it alone and continue to shake. Lu Yulian did not understand the twists and turns, but only knew that her son was seriously injured, and the 2 medical departments hired by her husband at a high salary were useless and could not cure him. There are very few Suning in Simi country, less than 50 people. In total, what kind of talents can there be? It is normal that he cannot be cured. Her son is her lifeblood and the trump card for her to control the Chui family chaebol. He must not get into trouble. At this time, she can only use the connections in China. Lu Yulian is not an ordinary person after all. She quickly calmed down and walked to the compartment next to her to make a phone call. She was seen talking softly to the phone, smiling and acting coquettishly, although the 2 Suning in Simi country did not understand what she was saying. Just listening to the tone of her voice made her body numb. What a beauty. The 2 sighed, knowing that such a woman was not something they could touch. After Lu Yulian finished the call, her expression immediately turned cold, and she said to them, "Take good care of Master Sheng, I'm going out to do something now." "Madam, don't worry, we won't let anyone disturb Master Sheng." Lu Yulian left in a hurry. In addition to finding someone to treat her baby son, she also had to find out who hurt him and never let the murderer off easily. Over the years, Lu Yulian has been calling the shots in Simi country, relying on Master Chui Xingshir's identity as a capable person. If someone angered her, she would use her connections to lock them up on any charge. Simi country's National Violence Agency was about to become her personal tool. When a person's power expanded to the extreme, it was inevitable that he could not recognize the reality. China was not a country controlled by chaebols like Simi country. However, she also knew that all Chinese capable people were military personnel. Even students were in the reserve. No one would answer her if she called 110, and they would investigate her afterwards. If she wanted to complain, she had to find the relevant department. That night, Lu Yulian went to many places and ran around, and finally found a clue to revenge. China has a secret department that specializes in supervising the capable people, called the Ruins Management Bureau. When the capable people commit crimes, they will file a case for investigation and arrest. For example, Zhao Zheng, who died in the Shenangjia Fangjia before, had long been identified as missing by the Ruins Management Bureau because he disappeared without reason. After his death, he was labeled as treason, and his 8 generations of direct relatives were not allowed to hold public office. It can be said that the Ruins Management Bureau has great power, but in fact it is not great. It can be said that they have no power. They have the right to supervise the most privileged group of people in China. After Lu Yulian found out the truth about her son being beaten overnight, she submitted an anonymous letter of complaint to the Ruins Management Bureau under the guidance of some people. She was not stupid enough to publicly retaliate against the heir of the Jiang family, so the complaint letter only wrote about Zhong Yuan's bad behavior. This letter immediately attracted the attention of the investigators. Regardless of where the letter came from, first check Chui Xingshir's background. There is indeed a capable person from Simi country with the same name and surname who came to study abroad, and the procedures are complete and there is no violation. Then check the murderer who beat people. The investigator was dumbfounded, unable to access the file. The student named Zhong Yuan is actually at the highest level of confidentiality. His file must be viewed by a senior general, at least at the level of major general. The Ruins Management Bureau was established not long ago, and the director Wang Peti's military rank is only a colonel. It is estimated that he will be promoted to major general in another 10 years, in other words, their boss can't see Zhong Yuan's file either. And people with the highest level of confidentiality are usually strong people who have mastered some strategic level capabilities. In the entire Shandong city, only 2 people's files cannot be accessed. One is the commander of the military region, Nguanfen, and the other is Feng Qin. If these 2 people make any mistakes, the Ruins Management Bureau cannot touch them. Now there is another Zhong Yuan. Could it be that Qingying College made a mistake? The investigator immediately asked the college for confirmation. Gu Yan replied very stubbornly, no mistake. The investigator was at a loss. Qingying College was lawless. In order to protect a student, they even raised the confidentiality level overnight and stopped the investigation. How can they do their job like this? Although the relationship between China and Simi country has always been bad, they still have to do some superficial work, especially since the two countries are neighbors. When fighting against the invasion of Sudong, it is not easy to tear their faces with them. If foreign Sudong students are deliberately harmed, it will become an international dispute if not handled properly. So the investigator hurriedly reported to the director Wang Peti, who simply called the military district and reported that Chengying College had privately tampered with the confidentiality level of students. He didn't want to make a big deal, so he just changed it back. Who knew that when the military district heard that the Sudong Administration Bureau was investigating Zhong Yuan, they immediately reported it to the higher level, the child who won the first-class medal and was valued by the commander suddenly got into trouble. Who dared to neglect it? Going up one level at a time, it finally reported to the commander's office. After listening to the report from Adjutant Xiaoqin, and Guanfeng couldn't help but frown. The little guy is really good at causing trouble. He just came out of the confinement room and immediately ran to Hualing College to beat up the foreign students. After a period of observation, and Guanfeng determined that Zhong Yuan was not a person who abused his power for no reason, he ignored Wang Pedi's request, but asked Xiaoqin to call Gu Yan to investigate the truth. It would have been fine if he didn't investigate, but when he checked, even Gu Yan was shocked, because Zhong Yuan not only beat Cui Xingshi, he also beat Jiang Tianchua. Hualing College handed over a letter of protest, saying that they would investigate to the end, and attached a video as evidence. Seeing that the matter could not be covered up, Gu Yan could only bite the bullet and report it truthfully, and sent the video to the headquarters. The video was projected on the screen. In the picture, Zhong Yuan looked cold and continued to beat Jiang Tianchua when he had lost the ability to resist. Not only that, but when the guards of Hualing College arrived later, he still did not stop. He fought against the entire team alone, and he actually got the upper hand. If the fight continued, the guards would be wiped out. Bang! And Guanfeng slammed the table hard and said angrily, "What on earth is the guards of Hualing College doing? A team of 6 people can't deal with Zhong Yuan." Xiaoqin was terrified and thought, the commander's focus is wrong. Shouldn't he first condemn the kid for beating people indiscriminately? However, the guards of Hualing College are really not very good. The organization is almost the same as that of the official Su Ninja team. They can't even deal with a student. It's really embarrassing. Strangely, Zhong Yuan has the upper hand and is determined to kill Jiang Tianchua, but Hualing College's wording does not sound like someone has died. The video continues to play. Finally, it's the last moment. For some reason, Zhong Yuan took the initiative to stop, not to mention Xiaoqin. Even when Guanfeng exhaled nervously, Xiaoqin couldn't help but complain, "It's really scary. I thought someone was going to die." And Guanfeng paused the video and asked, "What is Jiang Tianchua's attitude?" Xiaoqin immediately replied, "Jiang Tianchua himself said that he would not pursue it. His fight with Zhong Yuan was just a competition between the two colleges." "I checked and there is indeed such a practice," and Guanfeng said indifferently, "He is broad-minded. He was almost beaten to death." Chapter 95. It turns out that he also has a gentle smile. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Jiang Tianchua's attitude is very important. If he insists on pursuing the matter, even if Zhong Yuan is safe, there will be a small stain on his resume. However, if he does not pursue the matter, he can make a big thing small, and a small thing nothing. And Guanfeng couldn't help but sigh that Jiang Tianchua really has the style of his father, with a keen sense of smell. And he noticed so quickly that the military region wanted to focus on cultivating Zhong Yuan. A moment of tolerance has gained a lot of goodwill. To be able to become the president of the student union of Hualing College, he is indeed very capable. If it were the person in charge of other military regions, the incident might have ended here, but Guanfeng has always been meticulous and never believed that Zhong Yuan would be hostile to Jiang Tianchua for no reason. There must be something else. Check it out again. And Guanfeng said to Xiaoqin, "Call the lip-reading expert here. I want to know what the two of them said when they were fighting. In addition, investigate whether they have had any contact before, and everything must be carefully checked." "Yes." Xiaoqin took the order and left. In less than an hour, the whole story was figured out. The situation was so simple that it made people laugh. It turned out that Jiang Tianchua fell in love with Zhong Yuan's sister and wanted to ask for his consent. The result was a big failure. Not only was he beaten up by Zhong Yuan, but he was almost killed. This is unreasonable. Even if Zhong Yuan was not satisfied with Jiang Tianxua and did not want his sister to date him, it would not lead to a life-and-death feud. Oh, Zhong Yuan has a sister. And Guanfeng asked, do you have a photo? Xiaoqin almost forgot about this and hurried to look through the database. Wait a minute, I'll get it right away. Half a minute later, Zhong Lan's photo appeared in front of Commanderin. She was as cute as in Cage when she was a child. After all, little girls have round faces, and Guanfeng was stunned and asked, is this a current photo? Xiaoqin stammered, yes. Then, the two of them fell into a long silence. After a long while, and Guanfeng coughed and said expressionlessly, young people nowadays are so cruel. No wonder Zhong Yuan wanted to beat him. I would beat him too. Fortunately, Zhong Yuan kept restraint at the last moment. Well, this kid is really not easy. As he said, he played the video a little bit forward, which happened to be the scene where Zhong Yuan looked at Qinjun. And Guanfeng pointed at Qinjun and said to the adjutant, Xiaoqin, look carefully, this person is a medical system expert. Huh? Is that so? Xiaoqin hurriedly found the guard team information and was surprised to find that the commander was right. Why? He admired him very much and wanted to know the reason for such judgment, and Guanfeng looked relieved and explained, the medical department must have used life-sharing on Jiang Tianxua. Zhong Yuan had concerns and didn't want to involve innocent people, so he didn't kill him. I knew that this kid had a clear sense of gratitude and resentment. Xiaoqin kept nodding, and thought, the commander is really protective of his son, and has been making excuses for Zhong Yuan. He will definitely not be punished this time. Jiang Tianxua got beaten up, but he will be unlucky, at this time, and Guanfeng said again, the grudge between them has not been resolved, and there will be a conflict again one day. You go to Hualing College to convey it, let Jiang Tianxua give up on Zhong Yuan's sister, and then apologize to Zhong Yuan to resolve the conflict between them. Xiaoqin continued to nod, completely affirming his previous thoughts, the commander is on Zhong Yuan's side. Isn't it? Super protective, that's right, perverts don't deserve sympathy. That's almost it. Xiaoqin personally contacted Jiang Tianxua and conveyed Commander N's meaning exactly. I thought this guy would have some resistance, but he agreed immediately and said he would go to Chengying College to apologize as soon as possible, and also promised that he had completely given up on Zhong Yuan's sister and would not go to entangle her. The man of insight is a hero. A talent like Jiang Tianxua, how can he not worry about not finding a wife? I really like her. At least wait until the girl grows up before chasing her. Hualing College, after receiving treatment, Jiang Tianxua has recovered, but if you look closely, you will find that there is a faint scar at the corner of his right eye extending all the way to his temple. This scar was deliberately not cured and has been preserved. After learning that the mysterious little beauty is Zhong Yuan, Jiang Tianxua has been in a low mood. After talking on the phone with Adjutant Qin, he felt even more upset and wanted to get angry but couldn't. It's all my sister. She must have found out Zhong Yuan's identity and deliberately didn't contact him. Maybe, in a few days, they will lie that the mysterious little beauty is Zhong Yuan's twin sister, and then deliberately put him and Zhong Yuan together. Jiang Xiyuan is really capable of such a thing. Jiang Tianxua angrily dialed his sister's phone. It was still picked up after a beep. Jiang Xiyuan's apologetic voice came, I'm sorry, brother. I checked for you, but I haven't found the girl yet. Don't worry, I'll look for it again. That this is the truth. I took a screenshot of the surveillance screen and compared the girls' list one by one. My eyes were cramped when I looked at it. I only looked at 1/3 of it. I felt really tired, so I threw it aside and planned to look for it when I had time. Jiang Xiyuan didn't think that the beautiful girl could only be found in the boys' list. Jiang Tianxua simply helped her and said expressionlessly, I have checked. She has a brother named Zhong Yuan. Zhong Yuan. Jiang Xiyuan felt a little familiar and slapped his thigh. Isn't it the disciplined boy that Su Weiniang went to find? Where did his sister come from? His sister is clearly a young lowly. Suddenly, Jiang Xiyuan was shocked and compared the black long straight-haired beauty in the surveillance video with Zhong Yuan. Oh. Exactly the same. How did she become long hair? Jiang Xiyuan was instantly excited. and the soul of a rotten girl was burning. He had seen so many CPs, but none of them were real. Now his baby brother likes a boy. Oh, he thought it was a girl, but it still couldn't change the fact that Zhong Yuan was a boy. Let this beautiful misunderstanding continue. Jiang Xiyuan was like a chicken blood. He hacked into the school's surveillance security system as quickly as possible and found Zhong Yuan's figure from a lot of historical pictures, screenshot. Then, she opened Me to Xiuxiu, photoshopped the person into black long straight hair, and then used filters to beautify it. Oh my. The mysterious little beauty who had been looking for so long appeared. Jiang Xiyuan was stunned, pure ceiling. This beauty is not much worse than her best friend Su Weiniang, and may be more attractive to boys. A few minutes later, Jiang Xiyuan sent the edited photo to his brother and said, I found it, I'll send you the photo, see if it's this person. That I knew something was going to happen. Jiang Tianxua opened the email with a sneer. The next second, his eyes bulged out. So cute. This is a precious smiling photo. Zhong Yuan, who was photoshopped into black long straight hair, held a cup of milk tea in his hand, with a smile on his lips and a gentle look in his eyes. The place where his eyes were looking was of course Zhong Lan, who was about to hand the milk tea to her. Jiang Tianxua and Zhong Yuan had a big fight and saw his coldness and ruthlessness, but he never thought that Zhong Yuan also had a gentle smile. He stared at the photo for several seconds and wanted to delete it, but his fingers moved by themselves. First set it as the screensaver of the mobile phone, then back up several photos and send them to his 3 mailboxes, in case the mobile phone breaks and the photos are lost. Jiang Xiyuan smiled slyly on the other side of the phone. How is it? Is it him? Jiang Tianxua was so confused that he couldn't help asking, do you have any more photos? Yes, 500 yuan each. How many do you want? Jiang Xiyuan was very embarrassed to ask for a big price. I'll take as many as I can. I want good-looking ones that make people smile. Chapter 96 The Real Killer. You are listening at novelfull.audio. These days, mastering P-picture technology is equivalent to mastering a shortcut to making money. In addition to looking for screenshots on the surveillance screen, you can also bribe Zhong Yuan's classmates to take photos, just the boy who had malatang with them last time. He seems to be quite a Philistine and he should be able to help. Jiang Xiyuan arranged the photos in minutes and promised his brother that he would provide 100 high-quality photos a week. Jiang Tianxua's mood improved. After hanging up the phone, he admired the new screensaver for a while, then opened his address book and prepared to contact Feng Qing. Apologize early. The sooner you apologize, the more sincere it will be. If you delay it for a long time, it will give people a feeling of reluctance. Since it's all a misunderstanding, it's better to explain it clearly. Maybe it's still time to start from friends. I heard that Cui Xingshi was seriously injured and had been transferred to an off-campus hospital for medical treatment. People in Simi Kingdom are not very capable, but they are very vindictive and have a strong desire for revenge. Zhong Yuan must be reminded to be careful. It would be great if I could get Zhong Yuan's cell phone number. I wonder if Feng Qing is willing to give it. Dial in progress. No answer. Dial again. Still no answer. Feng Qing is such a person. If you call him, it will take at least 5 minutes for him to answer the phone. After many years of dealing with each other, Jiang Tianxua knew the habits of this guy very well. Sure enough, after making more than a dozen calls, I finally answered. Jiang Tianxua, I never thought you were still alive. That there's nothing nice to say. However, Zhong Yuan still counts on Feng Qing for his mobile phone number, so he must bear with it for now. Jiang Tianxua said in a deep voice, is Zhong Yuan here? Help me contact him. Feng Qing said coldly, what do you want to do? Get the situation back. Do you think you can beat him? That if I told you that Zhong Yuan did not use his true skills at all, would you be so disappointed that you would cry? Ha ha ha. However, Jiang Tianxua's answer greatly exceeded Feng Qing's expectations. I can't fight, so I won't fight. I want to reconcile with him. Feng Qing put his hands on his hips and laughed. Do you admit that Hualing College lost this year? Jiang Tianxua took a deep breath and said with difficulty, yes, I give up. Can you give me Zhong Yuan's mobile phone number? Feng Qing said decisively, don't even think about it. Jiang Tianxua immediately became anxious. Isn't it just a mobile phone number? Do you think I won't be able to find out if you don't give it to me? Feng Qing chuckled and said, Jiang Tianxua, you want to recruit Zhong Yuan to your Hualing College, right? Will I stupidly tell you my number? It seemed that Feng Qing could not let go. Jiang Tianxua suppressed his anger, gradually calmed down, and said sarcastically, I just want to apologize to him. Why are you so anxious? If he thinks Hualing College is better, no one can stop him from transferring to another school. Feng Qing had veins popping out on his forehead and retorted, a group of nouveau riche gather here and now they start picking up trash. What's the point of getting better? Only I, Qingying Academy, am an orthodox and prestigious school. Jiang Tianxua sneered, Feng Qing, you are anxious and nervous. You are not sure whether he will transfer to another school. You may not know yet, but Zhong Yuan actually has the ability to regenerate. He destroyed all my defenses, and his hand will definitely not be much better, but in the end, he is intact. This key information was like a fatal blow, immediately affecting Feng Qing's nerves. The hand holding the phone gradually became harder, and the voice became colder. What do you want to say? Jiang Tianxua looked proud and said, I want to say, Zhong Yuan doesn't need you. He has regeneration. What kind of treatment does he need? The person he needs is me. During team operations, I can be his shield and defend him. He can fight without any worries and won't get hurt. Beep beep beep. Jiang Tianxua's mouth twitched and he checked the call status. Depend on. Unmannered guy, hang up the phone. Forget it, Zhong Yuan's instructor is a sensible person, please contact her, there should be no problem. Jiang Tianxua successfully hit Feng Qing and felt relieved. At the same time, in the dark confinement room, Feng Qing could no longer contain his anger and actually crushed his cell phone with one hand. When I came to my senses, my phone went black and the screen cracked like a spider web. I had to get a new machine. This is just a specially made satellite phone. Although you can apply again, you will inevitably have to think about it for a while. Feng Qing paced back and forth, and suddenly realized that Jiang Tianxua was absolutely right, and felt anxious. After a while, he still couldn't calm down, so he walked up to Zhong Yuan with red eyes and said miserably, I was bullied by Jiang Tianxua. You are still in the mood to sleep. Zhong Yuan, the experiment failed again. After testing for a whole night, I still couldn't find a new trump card. Seeing that it was almost noon and there was no way to continue wasting time, Feng Qing walked out of the solitary room and took out the ordinary mobile phone he usually used. When I saw it, I was shocked. Message, SMS, email, 99+. Fortunately, there was no signal in the solitary room. Otherwise it would have automatically shut down. He looked at them one by one. Most of them were Gu Yan who came to ask what happened last night. There are also some contacts from the military region, like Gu Yan, who came to understand the situation. Feng Qing was about to delete it with one click when he suddenly noticed that at around 6 o'clock, there was a text message from a contact of special concern. Zhong Lan, brother Feng Qing, please tell my brother that I am not feeling well today and will not go to class. Don't wait for me in the cafeteria in the morning. I want to go. Good guy. Zhong Yuan was right. My little sister really took a day off, as expected of a brother. He really understands his sister's temper. I saw the message in the morning at noon, which is a bit late, but I have to reply. Feng Qing was about to edit the message when suddenly an idea came to his mind. If Zhong Lan is replaced, can Zhong Yuan wake up? The more he thought about it, the more he felt that there was a chance, so he quickly called Zhong Lan. Few seconds later, the frustrated voice of the little sister came. Brother Feng Qing, you didn't tell my brother that I went to fight, right? Feng Qing could only say sorry in his heart, and replied, don't worry, I didn't tell him. That's good. What do you want to talk to me about? In fact, after losing the fight, Zhong Lan cried for a long time. Her eyes were red and swollen, like walnuts, and she couldn't see anyone at all. She simply didn't even go to eat breakfast and lunch, and stayed in the dormitory to eat snacks. Feng Qing hesitated for a moment and said, actually, your brother is still in the hospital. Zhong Lan was shocked and asked hurriedly, didn't he go to get a rabies shot? Feng Qing lied naturally, yes, but it seems that he has a little allergic reaction. He is still in the hospital for observation. Zhong Lan worriedly said, is it serious? In fact, my brother just had a car accident 2 months ago. Could it be related to the car accident, that she obviously didn't know what allergies were, but what about car accidents? Feng Qing didn't take it to heart and continued to fool him with one mind, it's okay, don't worry, it's just a little rash. That is, there is a problem now. Zhong Yuan hurriedly asked, what's the problem? Here comes the key. Feng Qing said nervously, he is sleeping soundly, can you help wake him up? Zhong Yuan breathed a sigh of relief and smiled, I thought it was something else. My brother is like this when he falls asleep, you have to call him hard. Oh, it's easy to say, I used all my strength to suck milk, but it didn't work. Why don't you try it? Chapter 96, Here, There, All Treated Coldly. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As an older brother, you know your sister's temper, in the same way, my sister must also understand her brother's habits, Zhong Yuan said, are you ready? I want to shout. Ready. Feng Qing calmly turned on the recording on his phone, then, I heard my little sister shouting on the other end of the phone, brother. Get up. The sun is shining on your butt. Get up and make me breakfast, the audio is here. Feng Qing ran faster than the tornado, quickly returning to the solitary room. The signal suddenly disappeared, he didn't take it seriously and turned on the freshly recorded trump card, the volume was turned to maximum, and finally the phone was placed next to Zhong Yuan's ear, play. Brother. Get up. The sun is shining on your butt. Get up quickly and make breakfast for me, the girl's clear and cheerful voice echoed in the confinement room. Well, give me 5 minutes and I'll do it right away. Zhong Yuan reflexively opened his eyes and sat up straight, in a daze, he found that the surroundings were pitch black, with only 2 purple light spots floating in the air. This is not a light spot, but Feng Qing's eyes, in the dark environment. Sunglasses can no longer block the abnormality of the eyes. Zhong Yuan was not surprised at all. He was a weirdo with no heartbeat and no breathing. It didn't matter that his eyes were glowing, Zhong Yuan pretended not to see his eyes shining, but frowned and asked, is it my imagination? I seem to hear Lan Lan's voice just now. By the way, how long did I sleep? 1 minute, or 2 minutes? Just like last time, it feels like only a little time has passed, but the quality of my sleep is super good and I feel very energetic, the solitary confinement room is extraordinary. Zhong Yuan couldn't help but sigh secretly. When Feng Qing saw that he finally woke up, he felt excited and clenched his fists in excitement. Then, he turned on the light without saying a word, took off his sunglasses, pointed at his bloodshot eyes and said. Sleeping from 12 p.m. to 12 p.m., do you know how I got here during these 12 hours? My phone was so anxious that it exploded, so long. How is that possible? Zhong Yuan's face was dull and he beeped in a low voice, what does it have to do with me if your phone explodes? I feel like I only slept for a minute. Feng Qing failed to claim credit, put on his sunglasses again, and said helplessly, I understand, your concept of time is different from normal people. Half a day feels like only 1 minute has passed to you. Okay, you can sleep again. If the second time it succeeds the second time, you can sleep to death without any worries. Zhong Yuan's heart moved and he asked expectantly, are you sure? Feng Qing muttered, I'm 90% sure. I think it's okay. Good, turn off the lights and go back to sleep. After a few minutes, Feng Qing made sure that he fell asleep, followed the same pattern, and played Zhong Lan's recording again. Brother. Get up. The sun is shining on your butt. Get up quickly and make breakfast for me. Zhong Yuan reflexively opened his eyes again and said, what do you want to eat today, meat buns or siamai? Feng Qing made up a lot of weird reasons, but none of them could deceive Zhong Yuan's subconscious, but preparing his sister's breakfast is a habit he has accumulated over time. From elementary school to junior high school, Zhong Yuan was responsible for what Zhong Lan ate in the morning. As long as he calls like this, he will wake up instinctively. Feng Qing couldn't help but burst into tears, and his heart was filled with a sense of accomplishment. Done. My sister is still awesome. Okay. Give me your phone and I'll send you the audio. You can use this as the alarm tone from now on. Zhong Yuan was also quite happy and took out his mobile phone and handed it over. However, as soon as Feng Qin got the machine, the first thing he did was to set Jiang Tianshua's number on the blacklist. As a result, even if he got Zhong Yuan's mobile phone number, he wouldn't be able to get through to him. I'm just so witty. Feng Qin gave himself a thumbs up, and after completing the little trick, he started transmitting Zhong Lan's audio. It was done in less than half a minute. The tampered phone returned to Zhong Yuan's hand. Turning on the audio and listening to it once, he was speechless. After a few seconds, he said, "Thank you for thinking about it." Feng Qin was very pleased with himself and said with a smile, "No prizes, no prizes. I also worked hard for it." Then, he suddenly thought of something and said, "What trick did you use to defeat Simiguo's idiot last night? I heard that the person has not woken up yet and has been in the hospital for emergency treatment." Zhong Yuan said in surprise, "What other tricks can I use? I only punched him once." Feng Qin said, No, it was later that he suddenly fell down." "Did you use any mental attacks?" Zhong Yuan shook his head. "Except for that punch, I didn't do anything. He fell down for no reason and it had nothing to do with me." Feng Qin completely believed Zhong Yuan's words. In this case, Cui Xingshi didn't wake up. Could it be a trick? Feng Qin thought for a while and said, "Well, you stay here and don't go out yet. Also, I explained it to your sister. She thought you were allergic after taking the rabies shot and is staying in the hospital for observation." "Oh, thanks." Zhong Yuan did have the intention to continue sleeping. 1 minute is not enough at all. With the alarm, you can sleep peacefully. Anyway, let's set it to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Then, Feng Qin left the confinement room. He sent another message to Zhong Lan, telling her that Zhong Yuan had woken up. After doing this thing simply shut down. Both cell phones are unreachable. That's right. This time, no matter who asks, Feng Qin will not help the idiot from Simi country. In the afternoon, the Ruins Management Bureau still did not receive any response. The request to look through Zhong Yuan's files was like a stone sinking into the sea, without any waves. Director Wang Putty was speechless. "You don't take the Ruins Management Bureau seriously, right? Then just drag it out, whatever you want." He called his investigators and ordered, "Send another letter of assistance to Chengying College." The investigator said in embarrassment, "Boss, Chengying College doesn't care about us at all." Wang Putty smiled, "Just send it, don't ignore it. Anyway, our Ruins Management Bureau doesn't care about this matter." The investigator was very upset, but since the boss said so, what else can he do? Cold salad. Chengying College has received 3 identical letters. The wording was more severe than the last, accusing them of tampering with the level of student files without permission. However, Zhong Yuan's ability was worthy of top secrets, and it would be a real violation if it was leaked. It will. Besides, Commander and hasn't spoken yet. Who are you trying to scare, Wang Putty? The Ruins Management Bureau is clearly trying to overstep its authority to investigate. We must not set this precedent, otherwise it will be a mess. Gu Yan has seen a lot of storms and waves, so he is not panicked at all. He throws the letter aside and ignores it. Here, there, all are treated coldly. Only Lu Yulian, who sent the anonymous letter, is left sitting on pins and needles, waiting for news. As evening approaches, she finally can't sit still anymore. Chapter 97. Behind him, there is a powerful motherland. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lu Yulian is impatient and used to being domineering. In Simi country, as long as she gave an order, someone would help her get everything done within 2 hours. Who knew that in China, the efficiency was so slow? The anonymous letter sent in the morning, no news all day. Didn't that Shuguan bureau see it? Cui Xingshi's condition has not improved, and Lu Yulian is very anxious. The 2 Simi people who came with them are the only 2 medical departments in their country. If Cui Xingshi can't be cured, they can only seek help from other countries. In fact, Lu Yulian hopes that China will take the responsibility of treatment and send powerful medical Sioux talents to treat them. However, international practice is that if foreign Sioux talents enter the country and are injured, the country has no obligation to treat them. This is embarrassing. if China is unwilling to save people and wants to treat Chui Xingshi, it can only find the lighthouse country to make a deal. It seems very friendly there and welcomes all capable people. In fact, once you squeeze out your surplus value, you will be kicked out in minutes. Chui Xingshi once had the opportunity to become a Chinese. But as the saying goes, it is better to be the head of a chicken than the tail of a phoenix. His ability is second to none in Simi country, but he can only be ranked in the middle in other big countries. A few years ago, Lu Yulian rejected the invitation of China for her son because of her own selfishness. For this reason, she has been complacent. It is said that the nationality of China is the most difficult to obtain in the world, and dual nationality is not allowed. When it comes to Chui Xingshi, isn't it begging him to join? Now, her son has been trembling painfully on the hospital bed, with no signs of improvement at all. Lu Yulian regrets not falling. If she had known this earlier, she should have stayed in Hualing College and relied on the strength of the college for treatment. After entering the hospital, the college refused to admit it. There was really no way, so she could only call the boss who had reminded her again for help. "Sir, can you ask a medical practitioner to come and treat Master Sheng? Does the Bureau of Management have the authority to transfer people? Aren't they the department that manages practitioners? If that's the case, why hasn't the murderer been caught yet? Really? If the school doesn't cooperate, the investigation can't go on. Then what should I do? My son is dying. Okay, I'll think about it. Give me a reply within 10 minutes. I got it, thank you." Swallowing his anger, beating around the bush, and flattering in various ways, the information he finally got was that it wasn't that the Bureau of Management didn't want to investigate, but that Chengying College didn't cooperate. The other party's suggestion was, since Master Chui Xing's condition was critical, he might as well join China and get treatment immediately. It's easy to say, if this is done, what will the lighthouse country think? All the power and wealth of the Chui family chaebol are built on Master Chui Xing. Once he enters China, many things will become complicated. After thinking it over, Lu Yulian finally did not choose the advice of the big boss. Instead, she called the special envoy of Simi country in Shandong City. "Commander, the special envoy of Simi country sent a letter, asking us to severely punish the murderer who seriously injured Chui Xingshi and send people to treat him. They also hinted that if we disagree, we will take countermeasures." That when it was almost time to get off work, Xiao Qin received an emergency call, and Guanfeng saw through the other party's purpose at a glance. "In my territory, you want me to severely punish my own people? It's funny. They just want Chui Xingshi to get treatment. Be sincere, humanitarian assistance is not a bad idea. After all, Chui Xingshi has half Chinese blood. Our great country has always been broad-minded, and we still have the magnanimity to help him." However, the other party actually asked the special envoy to come forward. Still counterattack. "Sorry, let's do it according to international practice." And Guanfeng asked calmly, "What did the Market Management Bureau say?" Xiao Qin was so angry that his teeth itched, and replied, "They are off work." And Guanfeng was not surprised at all, and smiled. Wang Padi's temper is still the same. "It's just what I want him not to intervene. At least the situation won't be more complicated. Notify Chengying College and ask them to protect Zhong Yuan and don't let him leave the school. It's best to stay in the dormitory and don't go anywhere." Xiao Qin immediately said, "Don't worry about this. I have asked them." Zhong Yuan came back from Hualing College at midnight yesterday and took the initiative to go to the confinement room. "He hasn't come out yet," and Guanfeng was stunned. "Good guy. Put yourself in confinement. It's definitely not that he is addicted to confinement," but Zhong Yuan foresaw the current situation in advance, introspected himself, and didn't want to make things difficult for the superiors. "I knew that this kid has the style of a general," and Guanfeng was extremely relieved. In this case, Zhong Yuan can't be put in confinement in vain. "I will go to the hospital in person to solve this matter and let him come out early." Xiao Qin was shocked. Commander and personally came out for Zhong Yuan. And Cage didn't get this treatment. Could it be that Zhong Yuan is the commander's biological son? The above is just Xiao Qin's random thoughts. Then, an off-road vehicle drove out of the base and headed straight for the Blue Brain Cross Hospital. At the same time, in the intensive care unit, the semi-country envoy stood beside Lu Yulian, wiping his sweat. "Madam, we have already protested, now we just have to wait." Lu Yulian said angrily, "I can't wait. Go tell them to send someone over now to treat my son." In the afternoon, she thought that after the semi-country envoy protested, China would definitely send someone over, but who would have thought that there would be no response in the evening? Lu Yulian was at a loss. Aren't they afraid that Simi Kingdom will fall out? "Don't tell me, I'm really not afraid." The special envoy continued to console him, "Madam, if you wait a little longer, there will definitely be news tomorrow." "You know nothing." Lu Yulian collapsed and screamed, "It must be today." Today, that she once heard that the Chinese country has a healing ability called sun tracing, which can restore people to the state they were in one day ago. Wouldn't it be enough to send someone with the ability to trace back the sun? A trace of anger flashed in the special envoy's eyes, but he did not dare to contradict him directly. After all, what we need to save now is the life of a national treasure-level expert from Simi State. If it is not handled properly, he will be in prison the day he returns to the country. Suddenly, the door to the elevator opened, and a middle-aged man in a gray tunic suit walked out, followed by a young man in a guard uniform. They didn't even say hello and went straight into the ward. The special envoy usually has no contact with people of Nguanfeng's level. However, based on his many years of experience and intuition in China, he was sure that the person coming was a big shot in China. "It's a broken hospital. All kinds of cats and dogs can come here. Hurry up and stop them." Lu Yulian didn't know Nguanfeng anymore, so she got angry and ordered the two medical departments to block the intruder. It's a pity that they are only from the medical department. Where do they get the ability to fight with bare hands? He stepped forward bravely, his hands and feet trembling. Seeing that these Simi people were full of hostility, Xiao Qin immediately took a step forward and said coldly, "This is Commander An, the commander of the Eastern Theater Command. Which of you dares to take action?" The special envoy was proficient in Chinese and was shocked when he heard it. He stammered, "Commander." Nguanfeng smiled slightly, "I am Nguanfeng. Everyone, don't be nervous. I heard that a foreign friend was accidentally injured during the sparring. I happened to pass by and came to take a look." After saying that, he walked straight to the bedside, looked at Cui Xingshi's condition attentively, and then asked casually, "How many abilities does he have?" Xiao Qin immediately repeated loudly and unceremoniously, "What do you want me to ask you? What abilities does he have?" Lu Yulian was startled and lost her previous arrogance. She whispered, 3. Nguanfeng said, "One of them should be a simulation, right? I remember that people in Simi Kingdom like to absorb this ability." Lu Yulian said honestly, "Yes. That's right." Nguanfeng had already made a judgment and said calmly, "This child was backlashed by the power of simulation. He only has 3 abilities, but he simulates more than this number of skills. The brain continues to be damaged by Su energy, and it becomes like this." After watching the battle video, the only person Cui Xingshi came into contact with before he fell was Zhong Yuan, so, Zhong Yuan used at least 4 abilities in that punch. Nguanfeng was well informed and easily found the cause of the disease, and even obtained an important piece of information. Lu Yulian was completely convinced and rushed to him, crying and begging, "Let the man who traces the sun come. No matter how much money he has, he can do it. It's not a matter of money or not." Nguanfeng smiled and said, "The simulation is silent when activated. It specializes in stealing other people's abilities and using them to cure themselves." After Cui Xingshi lost the competition, he still wanted to use a simulated sneak attack. He was backlashed. "Why should we, China, be responsible?" Lu Yulian's eyes widened and she said in a daze, "What do you mean? Is it irresponsible to hit my son?" Nguanfeng said calmly, "Please go back. China is not a place for people like you to show off your power. Feng Qing doesn't need to turn off his phone to play missing." Nguanfeng had a tough attitude. Not only did he refuse to treat Master Cui Sheng, he even wanted to expel him. The purpose of personally coming forward to resolve this matter quickly was to let Zhong Yuan know that he was not alone. Behind him, there is a strong motherland. Internally, we can compete and even become involved in internal affairs, but externally, we must unite to safeguard national interests and honor. Chapter 99. There are some things that he must know. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhong Yuan, who has become a favorite in the eyes of the boss, is also happy to be quiet in the solitary room. I slept until 5 o'clock in the afternoon and found nothing happened, so I continued to sleep, set another alarm clock and sleep until 5 in the morning. After waking up, I felt refreshed and energetic. However, Zhong Yuan was disappointed to find that the description of Ice-Blooded Blast's abilities had not changed. Strange, why did it suddenly stop working? After thinking about it for a long time, I had no idea, so I simply stopped thinking about it. It would be nice to shorten the week period by half a day, but don't be too greedy. Zhong Yuan estimated that Zhong Lan would have calmed down after resting in the dormitory for a day, so he walked out of the solitary room while the sky was still dark. In mid to late September, the autumn air is crisp and the temperature is comfortable. The osmanthus trees planted on the campus are covered with golden buds, and when the wind blows, a delicate fragrance drifts away. As soon as he left the solitary room, the guard in the monitoring room immediately notified the academic director. Gu Yan has been waiting for a long time. The headquarters asked them to keep an eye on Zhong Yuan, but no matter how hard they searched, they couldn't find him. In the end, the guard provided a clue, saying that he went into the solitary room to pick up something left behind, but never came out. Only then did Gu Yan know that Zhong Yuan had gone to solitary confinement on his own. What a good boy. I knew I had hit someone and caused trouble, but I didn't want to cause trouble to the school, so I took the initiative to admit my mistake, but this time, no need to. He was fast asleep in the solitary room. Gu Yan simply gave up his efforts and waited for Zhong Yuan to wake up on his own. Finally, when the person came out of the solitary room, he hurriedly stopped him on the avenue. There are some things that you must let him know. Good morning, Director Gu, are you okay? On the empty tree-lined avenue, Zhong Yuan looked at the oncoming academic director strangely. It was only 6 o'clock, and he didn't believe that he met by chance. Maybe something happened. Zhong Yuan is not stupid enough to think that he does not need to bear any responsibility for beating 2 people from Hualing Academy, especially the guy from Simi Kingdom. His words are very arrogant. He should have some background. Zhong Yuan thought for a while and said, Director Gu, does Hualing College want to hold me accountable for beating someone? Gu Yan couldn't help but sigh in his heart. It took no effort to talk to smart people, and he got to the point before he even opened his mouth. However, you kid never dreamed that everything has been resolved. Gu Yan smiled and said, Jiang Tianxua has already stated his position, saying that you are just sparring normally and he will not hold you accountable. He will find an opportunity to come and reconcile with you in person. Reconciliation. A cold look flashed in Zhong Yuan's eyes, wondering what Jiang Tianxua was worried about. It's already been beaten like this, why don't you pursue any further investigation? Do you want to seek revenge privately? At this time, Gu Yan added, as for the international students from Simi country, they did make a violent fuss at the beginning. They complained to the Ruins Management Bureau and asked their country's special envoy to come forward, insisting on severe punishment and beating. Murderer. Zhong Yuan was slightly shocked and said, it's such a big fuss. Even the embassy has been alerted. And where is the Market Management Bureau? Gu Yan patiently explained to him, the Ruins Management Bureau is the department responsible for the Su Ning. Once the Su Ning commits a crime, they are responsible for tracking down and arresting them. Cui Xingshir's family members got the clue from somewhere and went to the Ruins Management Bureau to complain against you. The school even received 3 letters of investigation from them. At the end, Gu Yan inadvertently started taunting Wang Putty. However, Zhong Yuan, who misunderstood, lowered his head and said, I'm sorry, I caused trouble to the school. Gu Yan was stunned and couldn't figure out Zhong Yuan's temper. His attitude was so good, and he didn't have the same brutality as when he fought at the gate of Hualing College. You started apologizing, can't you just defend yourself a little bit? All the words I had thought of were useless. Gu Yan was a little depressed, coughed, and continued, actually, it's not a big deal. The Market Management Bureau can't cover the sky with one hand. They have to handle things according to rules and regulations. Zhong Yuan asked worriedly, what about the embassy? Will it cause diplomatic problems? This is a good question. Gu Yan waited to tell him about this matter and replied with a smile, it has been solved. Zhong Yuan said in surprise, is it solved? Did the school come forward? Gu Yan said, of course not. Where does the school have the qualifications to talk to an envoy from a country on an equal footing? It was my commander in the Eastern Theater Command who personally came forward to resolve the matter. Zhong Yuan was stunned. Commander, Gu Yan solemnly said, yes. In fact, the commander has been paying attention to you since you came back from Shenangjia. Zhong Yuan's heart tightened and he whispered, I actually got the boss's attention. Am I making things difficult for him? Ha! Gu Yan couldn't help laughing and said, silly boy, no matter how much Simi country protests and threatens to counterattack us, in fact, it is nothing more than a paper tiger. Once they are invaded by aliens, they can only humble themselves and beg us to fight together. How dare they go against us? The commander personally took action and solved it in a few words. They didn't even dare to give a shit. Don't worry, Master Cui Xing has left China. We will not allow him to enter the country unless there are special circumstances in the future. He will have no chance to retaliate against you. Zhong Yuan didn't know what to say. While I was sleeping peacefully, there were big bosses running around behind the scenes to solve the trouble. How can I thank the commander? There is a huge difference in status. Gu Yan took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, you don't need to thank me. If you don't have strength, you will be beaten. All respect and status are determined by strength. Generations of Chinese people have gone on, and everything they have done is to give. We need to create a better environment for our future generations to grow up, so that our country can stand on top of the world. This is the commander's exact words. Actually, the commander didn't let me tell you the inside story. He hopes that you can study and progress steadily in the academy without any ideological burden. It's my own initiative to tell you so much. Zhong Yuan, you have given us everything. It's a big surprise. Please don't live up to the commander's expectations. By the end, it was almost a pleading tone. Zhong Yuan looked at his serious face with extremely complicated emotions. Even though he has become a bloodless and alien creature, after hearing these words, a wave of heat began to surge in his chest. At this moment, a new will was born. It crossed the boundary of life and death and descended into the dark and boundless dark world. Anger has long since entered a state of calm. A stronger new will immediately replaced it and became the master of the dark world. The description of Fargo's ability has changed again without realizing it. All abilities are immediately increased by 1200%, lasting for 30 seconds. After the end, it will enter a weak period, which will last for 24 hours. Zhong Yuan has not yet realized that something strange has happened to him. After Gu Yan talked a lot, he couldn't help but look embarrassed and said, as I get older, I tend to be verbose and preach a lot. Zhong Yuan smiled and said sincerely, no, thank you, Director Gu. I will try my best. Gu Yan looked pleased, and took the opportunity to say, recently, the college will carry out a major rectification of the academic style. All students in the special class will have a score of 85 in the midterm and final exams. Zhong Yuan said from the channel, I should be able to pass. I study the questions every day and haven't missed any cultural classes. Gu Yan smiled and said, I know you have good grades and are a top student. In fact, Shang Guanyi came to class today. Zhong Yuan was speechless. What does it have to do with me that he comes to class? Gu Yan sighed, wondering, his foundation is really poor. He failed all the exams last semester. Now he has to go back to the first grade class to attend classes. Zhong Yuan, if you have spare time, can you help him make up for the lessons? Zhong Yuan.